Hello everybody, and of course welcome back to Dickie's videos where no war game remains unplayed. Further ado, here we are again with the Wargaming Gentlemen's Club, the King of the Hill. And this is of course round 3 of the King of the Hill tournament. If you've not followed this train of videos, please hit the plays below and then start all over again. But here we are with round 3 versus the Lucky Girl. This of course is Viking versus Russia. And of course Vikings going pretty strong. I've lost one so far, and of course I won my second round, and now here we are with the third round. So as you can see, this is the force I selected. Of course, Rus have lots of cavalry, and the weakness of the Carthaginians, the Vikings, are of course lots of cavalry. So as you can see, I've deployed in a turtle wedge formation, ready to steam forward. As you can see, there is a giant hill. I'll just see this better thing where I need to attack. If I were to hang back here, she would of course outnumber me with cavalry and infantry. So we're going to click the play. I mistakenly messed my points up and then had literally one unit of rabble. So my main battle plan here is to get on top of the hill, and then provide an attack where I can just block them out of the way. So at the moment in time, we're trying to push with our lights. As you can see, the Rus faction does have, which I was mighty scared of, horse archers, Turkish horse archers, I think it is. And the fact is, I've got to block in here and nerf this cavalry on the right. As you can see, my cavalry are, of course, hidden behind my main line, waiting to push forward. And, of course, the light fight ensues here. This was a difficult match, because if I left it to it, they would have all of the benefit of this POA of this hill, and I couldn't do it. And I can't let my cavalry get shot up. This is the main reason I kept them all in together and kept like a little light push there. So yeah, very interesting fight here. So as you can see, the cavalry on the left side now coming forward. She's mainly got 2 units of dismounted lancers and lots of I think it's defensive spearmen. As you can see, the cavalry slightly getting pushed into that right side. What I was scared about was the cavalry just running riot on my right, making me having to actually block myself or do like a square formation, which would be utterly bad there. As you can see, I think here I got slightly concerned, and I've got to be careful that the free cavalry units on that right, especially the horse archers. But I've just got to play my cards right here. And I think if I get into that rough, I think I was thinking for a second to either get into that rough terrain or not, but I think okay, I need to block her up as quickly as possible and get all them zone of control advantages on that right side. And here we go, trying to mix in of course the heavy weapon Haskell's, because they are the bread and butter of this Viking army, but also the berserkers will do their flavour there. As you can see, we did have 1 unit of rabble. I need to optimise this list and think about the stuff that I really want. So here we go. I think okay, I'm gonna have to take some points off that cavalry to weaken it up a little bit before my Haskell's and everybody else comes in. Luckily in this battle, most of the stuff gets into some form of combat, and there's no units lagging behind, and we're all in a fixed position. I think she was favourites for this. I thought I was going to get mauled here, but as you can see, we are trying to engage up and get on that hill at least, so we're ignoring that POA advantage, and also trying to get my berserkers on that single piece of rough terrain, so his heavy foot and cavalry mean nothing. But yeah, I got to say, here we go, the charge, and this is what I love best about this. Look at this, just push forward. I mean, chance could have caught them lights and it would have been a bad day. So now it's all about me trying to capture these units, and look how close she is on that right side. It's like, oh, I need to get on this hill and block this right side up as much as possible. But yeah, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit here. As you can see, we did charge the unit with a rabble and she retreated. I was hoping the rabble would keep her there and then we could attack and then think, oh yes, this is brilliant. This is brilliant now because we've got them stuck behind that, the bushes, and they're just going to get hemmed in. So this is now where we're thinking what's going to have to be chucked forward, and of course the Haskell's are going to have to be pushed forward, and then just turn that POA advantage, turn the clock. There we go, turning the berserkers, and the cavalry needs to go around to that flank, but also now won't get shot up because the 1 unit of Turkish archers are things. So now all the Huskars are turned to that left, ready to really engage that unit. But yeah, it's going to get brutal. This is very bloody battle, if I can remember. Okay, so we'll skip to I think it was the 10-minute mark where stuff started to engage. There we go, it was the 10-minute. There we go. So as you can see, we engaged the Huskers in the centre and here. So there's a 2-to-1 advantage. But as you can see, a little hole is starting to appear. And we're starting to get the advantage on this right side. So this is what I want to do. Start pushing this right. Get as much troop as possible. Because she can't actually block that cavalry unit that I just pushed into the thing. Into that little thing. So here we go. Pushing extreme right. Trying to capture all this cavalry. And block it all in. Luckily there I couldn't get moved back. So we're loving it. We're loving this part here because now I can just push all the way around as far as possible and trying to just hem them in and just get them close combat advantages. There we go, shifting the general into that unit on the centre. Now we're starting to hem around that right side flank as much as possible. We want these flanks as much as possible here. And of course the house cows just munching on the things, but this is where I'm thinking, okay, chuck the generals into the units further back. They can't get pushed back, but we can just now turn to this left side. So we've got more units on the right. I mean, if she kept pushing this cavalry in the south, it maybe would have caused us a bigger problem. But nasty combats here, nasty. All heavy armoured troops, and there we go. Think bugger it. There goes the berserkers. I want that impact. The fewer turns they have firing at me, the better here. And there we go. We're just going to turn these around. Now it's all about blocking tactics to stop these cavalry from the south turning around. But of course, we're doing pretty well blocking around, and the rabble just pushing forward, even though they're particularly not going to make too much difference. But just hack away. Everybody's blocked in there. Everybody's blocked in there nice and tight. And we can turn the other berserk unit around to counter any counters that come in our way. But yeah, that's the only combat I think there with the general we're not particularly happy about. We do lose, but the general doesn't die, which is fantastic. And I think, okay, we need to stick the lights in the bushes to the south, just in case that cavalry wants to come down. Lucky enough, we don't die. We do die on that left side. So we start a big deficit here, but I think majority we've got the benefit of positioning here. Good flanks for the cavalry, which got caught in between our line and the woods. There goes here goes her shield wall in that top north position. We've just got to keep hammering away. You know, the combat as we've now turned this negative combat of the POA advantage of the hill into our advantage. So we've now got the high ground. Her pushing that left side onto the far left there up here, down to my right bottom flank. But I've got to be careful. This cavalry now is not going to just peel my flanks back. But we are particularly happy with what we've done here. But yeah, pretty good. And we're happy just to sit there grinding down that cavalry. So a couple of losers with the house girl units, but then we go think, oh, we've got that cavalry. That unit just has to last. Like I've spoke about probably most of my videos, there's a risk-loss ratio, which units I'll be happy to lose, but there's other units I'm not happy to lose. So I'm happy for my spearmen just to really take the point advantage of the cavalry down, because they're just going to grind them down to bits. So I'm happy just holding them units tight, turning this around, blocking the cavalry. And so I'm not charging the cavalry, I'm just letting it sit there, and everybody else is just forming kind of a wall. This is what I want. This flank makes the game so much better here. And a fragment as well, so we're particularly happy, and we'll free a couple of units up here as well. But remember, she is pulling units to the north. There is units up here that are starting to pull round here, which I've got to maintain and of course do stuff to. There's the flank of the cavalry, fragment, absolutely brilliant. Of course, the rabble can just be pushed, and then the house girl unit can be pushed around the north, and just really hacking away at this unit. There we go, break, and then another offensive spearman unit ready to go. And then, of course, bringing the cavalry that's idle at the rear. Lights into the woods to just start shooting up. And then it's just the grinding combats of heavy troops just hacking each other up. To be honest, slightly more his advantage. I'm just hoping for these cohesion bubble drops. So his light troops stuck there, but we're particularly happy here. We're just like, well, we're just going to hack away now. And just hopefully just win this combat on the hill, but it's just all murderous right now. The cavalry scared me in this game more than anything else. I wasn't particularly worried about the troops. It was just getting it to my advantage. So trying to break that cavalry unit. We're fine just to chuck now the lights into the woods to the north and just cause hassle and just hold off. But yeah, I think if she pushed down south more with the cavalry, it would maybe have to stretch my line off. But the problem is it would have took time for that. And I would have more time to actually reposition myself. But there is still lots of units up there. The Turkish rally in the north, so we've got that to worry about next. But we're still, oof, there we go, this is 2-on-1. 3 to the 2 units in that north sector. But we do have cavalry units up there, and we're about to do a little bit of a breakthrough. So there you go, just chucks everything in there. I'm worried about flanks here at the moment. That southern sector is getting a little bit busy with not my troop, but I'm happy on that hill. And there is a portion of the battlefield where that hill gives me a good POA. But the battle lines, of course, turned half and half, and as you can see, most of my units here are starting to dwindle down numbers. But the dismounted lancers sitting pretty, because there's a couple 2-on-1 combats there that I've got on for a bit long, and literally, luckily, that broken unit there just dropped at the right time, but I'm getting worried. And that cavalry unit goes, bring it 7% there, so it flung straight in my win here. No more flanks for that cavalry, but we're going to go and charge the berserkers in that impact. Just anything to help that unit out at the moment in time was a godsend. Of course, we're just going to chuck the lights into there. I'm trying to change the general up here to just give it to that Huskarl unit. But here we're happy just to sit and shoot. I mean, remember, they are shooting me, and a good disruption there against the Turkish horsemen. And I think they're only protected either as well. So yeah, I'm worried about that Turkish unit up there. So we decide to turn. I think we decide to turn up here, and we decide not to go as far. And I think I don't know if I was going to charge that light unit, but I thought it would be a waste of a cavalry unit and positioning. I mean, if I was the other opponent, I would have just chucked cavalry to that south sector, because it would have been so annoying for me. I mean, the combat there is not great at all. I'm bricking it. I think if they would have pushed maybe earlier here, it would have been slightly different. But the combat on that centre is just hacking away now. So we're coming up probably halfway into this game. So everybody's thinking. So we're going to jump to 21 minutes. So I think things are mostly the same, apart from the north sector. The Turkish unit got pursued and charged away. The combats are just engaged now to her advantage, to be honest with you. But the cavalry is now gridlocked. This is unfortunately all wasted cavalry here. This cavalry should have detoured all the way around here. Even if one unit would have got around here, it would have made my day a lot more difficult than it was, rather than giving me a blocking tactic more than anything else. But remember, look, I'm happy and I think they realised this a little bit too late, but I'm happy to sit here. But as you can see, my cavalry now is at the southern sector, which they're going to have to try and deal with. And of course, just hacking the living, but gee, it's just brutal, this combat is. And there's the final auto break due to the problem is they were fighting all game. And the berserkers won't last particularly too long against them. They will probably last a long time if they're lucky with the cohesion. But we're still happy. Of course, they're the... We've moved the other unit. She's engaged 2 other units there. Which, to be honest with you, that was lucky for me. She did that. Because that changes the facing of that unit altogether. There's a fragment again. Just because of the... it's not the... impact or anything, it's just the decimation of that unit percentage number. The fact it has so many less men in it. So we are fighting fantastically here. And I'm just hoping this unit breaks. And did we charge it in here? I think we did, because we need this to break, this cavalry unit to go up there. Good flank of the game there again against a defensive spearman unit. There we go. This is what we want. Everybody's worn down on that corner. That corner is where the combat started very, very quickly. And there's the impact, what I want. Straighten again. Look at that. That cavalry's in the worst situation possible right now. Excuse me. So, feeling quite confident here. Really shouldn't have charged there. I really shouldn't have charged there because I think that was now giving her better positioning with the movement. But our unit really, really hurt here. So, but we're just really hurting each other. And a lucky disrupt there. My general fell, unfortunately. Break on that general unit again. 22. Oh, look at it all go. But we're aiming up for the next turn charge for when they turn to fight the berserkers on the right. This is just brutal, absolutely brutal. I think we turned a very disadvantageous game into onto our favour very easily here with that just thing. We had to push that hill, push the hill or hand back. And you can see a lot of units are just in time just breaking down. And that is just thing. We hid the rabble in there just because we didn't want the rabble to die. And of course, the unit of Turkish cavalry being a right pain in my side. I think, you know what, bugger chase it. Nothing I'm going to do with that unit in the game now. Of course, the cavalry that eventually rallied, but to be honest, you're very useless at this point in with positioning. But you know, come turn 9, we're at a good point here. So we're going to switch to 30 minutes, and then we'll play it all the way through. Wait, I'll go to 30. Where is it? Where'd my cavalry unit die? And I'll show you. So my cavalry unit got pursued up to the north, the one that landed here. Sorry. And unfortunately, his cavalry came right behind and is going to charge it horrendously. That's what happened with that cavalry that swung up here. But as you can see, mostly just hammered the crap out of each other. We'll play it from here because then we can just think. So... So we just push together. I'm trying to flank her now as much as possible. She's at 50-16. I think still this counts as a minor victory still for us. But as you can see, the centre part of the hill is crumbled due to just masses of, what's the word, just deaths more than anything else. But just the cavalry scared me. Even this late game, the cavalry did particularly well in just causing me lots of havoc here. We're just trying to just hold that line and not break. I did, in a couple of occasions, think about bringing the rabble out to do stuff, but our centre line's gone. But the problem is, the best thing about this, most of our expensive units are still alive. There's lots, there's 4 units of Huskarls still alive, so we're still pretty happy there. But yeah, still pretty good, and you know, a fantastic rally there with the general on the back, because there's no I can do about that unit, unfortunately. But a very interesting positioning which we ended up in. Yeah, just they got the flanks here for me, so there's nothing I can do. But my cavalry's there. See, I wonder why they did that. I think that was just pure, just charge everything in because they're going to flank me the turn after if they don't break. But pretty messy here. But taking my disadvantage and turning it to advantage. If you know, I was at that point of the hill, my cavalry lacks engagement, so I'm going to block him, use terrain to block it, and then it just nerfs their cavalry and wastes all their points. Good rally there from my archers, but everybody else is still running for the hills. So we got a charge there for the flank, which was lucky because like I said, all our decent troops are still alive, and all theirs is still alive. They dismantled, and I think, you know, do I do this or not? I think we charged the flank. Did we get a rear here? Oh, we did. I remember that. That was a bit harsh. I play so many games of Field of Glory that I forget what's happened in certain games. So here we think we have to just run forward and engage. There's particularly not much we can do here. Of course, we're a slight advantage there, but actually negative. It's a negative there, and I think, you know what, bugger it, 50%. We've got to try and get the score somewhere, and luckily we get I think a double bubble drop there, which things, and then there's the charge, but still a brilliant charge there for the double bubble to break, and this is where I go, okay, take their zone of control up. I wish they were slightly out of the way to get that flank, but that, you see, that was the sneaky move. That was the sneaky move. I always do this, so. Let's just play that again. I'll pause it. And I'll explain what I did there. For you who are watching. So, issue is, well, this moment in time, this unit moves here, sits there. Yep. Still, their main zone of control is there. So that cannot charge, which would be this unit. So I can see this unit at the start of my turn. Remember that. Start of my turn. You can't charge and you can't see. So I can't charge there, but if I move out the way, I will be able to charge because I'm not currently in anyone's zone of control. So that is why we're doing that. So we'll say that again. So still zone of control. Can't do anything about it. I move out the way. Now I can charge because I'm out the zone of control. Though it does particularly absolutely beg all. And I think, you know what, charge it in. At this point, I'm like, that's the most expensive unit on the board. That needs to die. Look at them crazy Vikings ready to smash them up. But yeah, a brutal game. And like I said, I had to nerf the cavalry. Nerf the cavalry or you might as well go home because you're not going to do very well. Yeah, good game, really good game, really enjoyable, but harsh for the for Russia. I mean, a lot of these lists are very similar when you get to these European nations, like the French, the British, or Breton, or they're just different. Only ever slight variations of the cavalry and either offensive or defensive spearmen, which, to be honest, at the end of the day, does not make particularly that much difference apart from that 100 POA. Oh, they charged the Turkish unit in, and there we go. Just got to hack that unit up. It actually ends up quite well, and I think we got a flank on the shield wall disrupt there, just all in our favour here. I can't remember how we actually finished this game up, to be honest with you. Oh, there you go. They just exploded. They're the spear. They're not a heavy weapon like the Vikings are. There's the auto break 59, and I think we've got a decent charge or two here. How did we get this 1%? I can't remember now. Oh, they just lost there just from general losses. So pretty good. I want to say thank you to my opponent and, of course, the Wargaming Club of Gentlemen. Final thoughts of the battle. Like I said before several times, using my disadvantaged position and then move to a more advantaged position. And then nerfing their points in cavalry. Because if I slip back to how many points in cavalry, I mean, they go, what's that? 3 units there and probably another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. And I particularly nerfed them. You know, I had this became the killing field. This was brilliant. This bit of terrain here, just they flung their flank there. I mean, I don't know if they if maybe this is, of course, everything's good in hindsight. If they pushed quicker this way to block that advantage, or even blocking there and then just holding that line and just let this point be the battle, and then just engaging lights for there. But I don't know. There we go. But clicking that like, subscribe button, coming back for more Food of Glory 2 content. We will be reviewing every battle of this Viking game because it was fantastic and I really enjoyed it. It was just a brilliant game, and I've got to say I expected to lose this game because she did very well in the previous rounds. But I think the stoic ability of the Housecows holding that line, even though they exploded mid-game, but they did enough damage in that to actually perform, everything else to perform well on there. And we got a couple of good flanks with the cavalry, which made up for the shortfall of any cavalry action. Okay, folks, see you on the next Viking battle, whenever, next time, or whatever, next time. See you later, folks. I'm just jabbering now.